after finishing an interview with a friend from Ireland, Dean. Grateful I could get him on to share the story. I'm just hoping that these stories can reach in and inspire people. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode with Testimonies with Terry. I have a good friend from Ireland, Dean Maguire. All right, Dean?
You all right,
it's good
pal?
to have you, pal. I'm glad you could come down. It's a good platform to share a testimony or whatever story you have, Dean, of what you've been through in life and how you ended up here in Liverpool. So if you want to tell the viewers, the people watching, we'll start there. How you ended up in Liverpool, Dean? How did you end up here, pal? Take it from there, pal.
So originally I nearly ended up in Switzerland before I came here, Terry. I couldn't get into any treatment centre in Ireland. There was no treatment centre in Ireland to take me. I was absolutely tore up from the ground up. I was physically and mentally broken in bits. I couldn't do anything without being full to the neck of drugs. I was waking up in the morning, I was drinking a bottle of wine in about one shot.
That was the first thing?
First thing, 5-6 tablets out the door. And then it was just, whatever happened after that was like, do you know what I mean? I just took it as it came. Heroin, crack, cocaine, amphetamines, and out robbing, stealing. And I was in a place in my life that I couldn't last. If I didn't have drugs, my whole world was just shattered. I couldn't speak, I couldn't talk, I couldn't leave the house. I was absolutely and utterly, my mental health, my physical health, I just couldn't manage. I couldn't cope with anything in life at that point without drugs. And in myself, I was just absolutely shattered. And I only managed to get to Liverpool by pure luck. A mate of mine, a good friend of mine back in Ireland, gave me a number and he said, why don't you try Liverpool? And I just knew Liverpool was closer than Switzerland. Because I didn't care. I just needed to get out of where I was at. Help. I needed to change my life. I needed to try to better myself. I knew there was more out.
I remember when you came into the home. I remember when you came into the home, Dean. I was leaving. I was at the graduating just when you came in, and we were doubled up. Dean was only after coming into the room, and I was at the graduating. I was at having enough of the home at that stage. I wanted to go and get out there. Do you know what I mean? But that's the first time I met you. And when you came in, you were pretty bad, like. Do you know what I mean? But I got to know you a little bit, not too much, a little bit. But I remember you saying you were, when you were young, you were a boxer.
Yeah, I've done a bit of boxing.
Done a bit of boxing.
Yeah.
And do you want to let us know a little bit about it? Because it's still there. When you kind of got better and done the home, you have good stuff going on now, haven't you, in your life at the moment?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I done a little bit, and then as an adult, I done a good bit more. I kind of got clean for a couple of years in my early 20s, and I went back and just took some competitions and that. But what I found with it was during the lockdown, I done some courses on like PT and different stuff online. And what I found is just with the gym, with working out, with anything, I find as we try to get better, get off drugs, and we try to better our lives, it's just a good outlet. It's a good thing for our health, it's a good thing for our mental health, it's a good thing for our bodies, our minds. So when I done that and it really benefited me, I'm a strong advocate in believing and trying to help other people and trying to show other people that look, this is going to help you. This is going to help you. Do you know what I mean? That if you're trying to bet, this is going to lift your mood, it's going to help you, it's going to give you confidence, it's going, do you know what I mean? And even now it's like for longevity of life in the long run, men with muscle and all just have a better life. They just live longer. They have a better life all around. You don't get sick as much. Do you know what I mean?
Discipline and exercise and what you're doing. It's a great sport. Boxing is a fabulous sport. It's probably one of the best sports out there because of the discipline in it. Do you know what I mean? You see that in boxers, professional boxers. You know, the discipline. But you're down in a little club there in Shelbrook, aren't you? And you're teaching kids at the moment and all.
I'm down in the club. I teach the kids 3 nights a week, which is great. and then I usually get I had to cut back, so I'm doing like, because obviously I have a full-time job and then I have another thing going on as well, like another little business venture. But I was like I was working 8-9 hours, and then I was going down to the gym and I was doing like 4 or 5 PTs with people after work.
Correct.
So, and I'm only after getting married, so my wife wanted me home, and do you know what I mean? There was no time, and at the end of the day, time is worth more than money anytime. So I'm after having to cut it down to 2 sessions. So basically, my hours are good in work, so it's like 6 to half 2. So get to the gym for 3, and I'll do one client at 4 and 5, and then I'll
no, it's great. It's great to see you're training with kids and you're giving back and trying to, you know, it's a motivation, isn't it for you? But we'll go back a little bit, Dean, in your addiction and your upbringing a little bit. Where are you from, and I suppose how old are you now, where are you from, and what age you started, if you want to go into a little bit.
So I'm from a place called Clonmel in County Tipperary.
Yeah. Trip to Tip, yeah. But yeah, all my life I think I was always in trouble, Terry. Ever since, one thing I remember about my life is my family home was good. There was 5 kids. Parents loved us. Yeah.
I just remember, but out of the house, in school, the teachers hated me. I never learned anything. I was always in trouble. Massive learning difficulties, massive behaviour disabilities, massive social disabilities, and that was before I ever took any drugs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not disabilities, but like just wasn't good at socialising, didn't learn. Do you know what I mean? Didn't learn too well.
A little problem child.
Yeah, proper. yeah.
Like most of us.
And that carried on. So I left school at like 14, not being able to read, not being able to write.
You didn't do any of your exams?
Didn't do any of my exams. I got them in Oberstown when I was 16.
Yeah.
So, but even at 14, I started getting into petty crime, just doing stupid things. But even at that stage, I started taking like a lot of amphetamines, a lot of...
That what would have been the first stuff you start taking?
Started smoking weed and all, and drinking, but I didn't really like to drink because it made me mouthy.
Yeah.
But then I think when the amphetamines kind of came, and the ecstasy and all that kind of stuff, you could drink with that. And yeah, but even then, Terry, when I never enjoyed even smoking hash. It made me paranoid, it made me weak, it made me as a person. And I remember like people like used to be able to kind of like, do you know what I mean? Smoke
it and carry on every day. Yeah, I never liked it either.
And other people used to know and to make a laugh out of me because I was bleeding stoned out of my head. My head was gone. But then even with the ecstasy and the amphetamines, I started like having massive panic attacks. I like this is at 14. Me head falling off completely. Massive.
Only 14.
14. And there was one incident where I went into a mad psychosis and like I seriously injured myself through self-harm at 14. Like I mean, like it wasn't like a little, I mean I seriously injured myself at 14 through psychosis from taking drugs at 14.
So that was probably as you look back now, that was probably a dark.
Yeah, when I look back,
only a kid like doing that kind of stuff. All because you started taking amphetamines, which is sleeping tablets and speed and
ecstasy
and ecstasy and drink.
And drinking, yeah. But like that, there was that thing. I wanted to be accepted. I thought that drugs were going to make me a better version of me,
giving you confidence.
Yeah, because I was insecure. I was shy, I was kind of drawn back, and I felt like that the drugs would make me more outgoing. And fair enough, they did, but it came with a cost, didn't it? It came with consequences.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so
if you I'll stop you there for this minute. If you were to say to somebody now at 14 trying to search for something, and at 15, whatever young age people are messing about with, what would you say to them? Try something like
that you're enough.
Gym.
That you're enough. That young person is enough who they are. They don't need to be putting a substance into their body to make themselves change or be accepted or be better. If the people you're around don't accept you, don't be around them.
Yeah.
If you don't feel good enough, then take action in to try to make yourself better.
Yeah, just don't drink or drugs.
Don't get caught up in drinking drugs. And it's hard. Being a young man or a young woman is hard. Growing up is hard.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah.
And then what happened after the, you know?
So I went away for a couple. I went away for a couple of years. Got off the drugs.
Right.
Got locked up as a kid.
Okay.
Came out. It was like 17, 18, and went back at it, straight back at it, and I was kind of handling it a bit better. But like that, my mood was always up and down. So I used to go through stages of where I'd be fine, outgoing, getting it, and then I'd just crash, and I just wanted to lock away and not be around anyone.
Yeah, isolate.
At 17, though, my brother died. So yeah, I had my older brother at 26. He was 26.
Right.
So he died of a drug overdose. So he,
yeah,
and that really put me into this other.
He would have been someone you looked up to.
He was my best friend in a lot of ways, Terry.
Was he?
So yeah, he was close, and do you know what I mean? I felt like, you know, I felt like that it was kind of, I should have protected him, and I should have been with him, man. Do you know, because he had a bad, like he was a lot more messed up from the drugs, because obviously he was old.
Can I ask you what drugs?
It was heroin.
Was it?
But I never knew. We didn't know, because he died in Galway.
Right.
But at that time, he was just found dead in his sleep in a hospital.
Right.
But I was actually meant to go up to see him that weekend, and there was a situation after happening and I couldn't go. Right. So that really broke my heart.
And were you on drugs?
Yeah.
At that stage as well?
Well,
so
it was,
but
I wasn't. At that time, there was no even heroin where I lived.
Was there?
No, there was no heroin. There was obviously people on it, but it was very hush hush. It wasn't like a mass thing.
It's not like now.
But after that, I just remember this darkness being over me all the time. I was angry. I was extremely hurt. I was angry with everyone, my family, the society, everything, and I really felt like they owed me something. Right. And you know, I never really spoke about this, but all my life I used to pray, Terry. Right, since I was a kid, I used to pray for my safety, but I used to pray for him a lot. Yeah. And I remember at that time, I rejected God after that. Did you? Yeah. I was like, why did you? Yeah. John, and I really felt like, so I was angry at God. Yeah. Where I always felt like God was kind of with me, and he was kind of listening to me, and he protected me. But we know that our plans are not God's plans. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, but basically what happened after that, like a lot of uppers, cocaine, amphetamine, and kind of drinking all. But
you start going downhill then? What
happened was, one day I felt like I found these tablets, these volume, these blue D10s. Yeah. And I remember taking 10 of them. Now, I'm not messing with you. I probably wasn't after having any peace in about 12 months. Right. And that's not one word of lie. I was tormented. Like, and I mean, like, on another level of angry all the time. Yeah. So I took these 10 tablets, whatever. I fell asleep. But I remember waking up the next morning, and they were still in my system. Right. And I remember and it was just like there was this lightness, and I had this peace. Right. It was like euphoria, and I still remember thinking to myself, I want to spend the rest of my life like this. Yeah. Do you know? And I can remember it was where I was. It was in my man's house, and I remember getting up out of bed, walking out into the kitchen. It was a bungalow, and I remember thinking to myself, I feel okay. I feel at peace. I feel at ease. My body is not. There's not this pressure in my head. There's not this anger in my heart. And I remember thinking, I want to spend the rest of my life like this. You know. And then from there, it was like this thing where I pursued them tablets. Right.
So that was the start of the tablet kind of.
That was the start of the kind of change of the drugs.
From the uppers to became downers.
Yeah, but I still took the uppers. But I was always looking for the downers then.
Yeah. How old was you being then?
About 19. So my brother died when I was 17, and I was about 19. But that went on for about a year. Yeah. You know, and at that time, obviously, because when you're out of your head in them tablets, you don't really care. You kind of feel bulletproof, like as if there's nothing going to come at you. So it was like fighting and arguing with people a lot, and there was a lot of like, do you know what I mean? Just stupid crap going on. Yeah. But about a year later, one of my mates got out of jail, and he was after me smoking heroin. Right. In prison. Right. And I think when I look back at it now, there must have been a kind of must have been the whole way around my area. There was kind of different groups. There was different, and they were all kind of getting on it.
Right, same everywhere, same all over Ireland. It was just creeping in. It was just,
and it just came in then like a flood.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
And that would that have been then? I suppose that would have took you to a new level of addiction. The heroin was a little bit tougher than the rest of them.
Yeah, definitely. Because with the heroin, I was on it, and then I tried to come off it. Yeah. And then I'd be in these dark, horrible places, and I'd be trying to come off it, and I'd be like trying to stay away from it, and I just couldn't. And then obviously I was going out, and like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't sustainable for me to be like getting depressed and getting, do you know what I mean? Because I had bills to pay and stuff I needed to be doing, but
were you smoking it or injecting it?
At that time, I was smoking it, yeah. So I was smoking it, and but just because especially because it was heroin my brother died from, and I used to always try to go back. But what would happen, and this was the story of my life, because I loved the tablets. Yeah. Because the heroin made you feel nothing, but the tablets made you feel happy. So it was kind of a difference. Yeah. Do you know, where the heroin had numb you, but the tablets were actually making you feel happy. Yeah. So what happened is I'd take a few tablets, and then I'd take anything. Do you know what I mean? And then I'd be back on. But I'd binge for weeks or months and cause mayhem, and then I tried to come off it and dry out, and my head would be up all over the place, yeah. And that went on. But actually, at 21, I got clean. So 21, I went to a treatment centre. Actually, that was the first bout of like unexplainable kind of detox, I suppose. Like that hurt and that pain and
everything came up just you were blocking out.
And the withdrawals as well. Yeah. From the heroin and that. Yeah.
All over the gas.
Yeah, and I remember at the time I spent 3 weeks in my dad's. My parents were always there for me. Yeah. Like they always took me back. Yeah. And without them I wouldn't have been here. Yeah. I wouldn't have made it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So massive gratefulness and respect for my parents for all they've done for me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Before anyone. Yeah. But I went in, got treatment, got clean, moved out of where I'm from, I moved to Waterford. And I moved down there and I kind of built a life for myself. That's when I went back boxing. That's when I kind of started doing college, doing courses. I got a house.
To better your life.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend, all this kind of stuff. And it went, like life was okay. But what I'll say, and it was very difficult, is I still struggled with massive, I felt low. I felt like lower than people. I was very easily rejected. Right. And this was for 1.5 years, and I still kind of went through bouts of kind of depression and little bits, but I was managing. But basically what happened was, it caught up with me in the end, and again that thing of like, if I take something, it's going to make me a better version of me. Yeah, gives you that bit of calm. Looking back now, and how far you've come away from addiction and the struggles that come with it, can you see, looking back now, the mental health side of? It's only now
you don't see anything, you don't even, we never even used to say that word, mental health.
Never heard of it,
Never even heard of that word, mental health, until I came over to get better.
Thought it was just weak, or thought it was...
You were a junkie or an addict, whatever people call, tagged you.
But I honestly know now that it was because of my mental health that I went back to the drugs. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And can you see how far, like, it's mad, isn't it, how far when you come through is this the longest you'd have been?
Yeah, so it's nearly 4 years now. So,
So this has been the longest.
Yeah, of course. And this
throughout your life. Because your whole life is caught up in addiction and
But the difference between I've never, like, now I know. Do you know what I mean? I've been through, I've battled, I've went to war with the stuff I've had to deal with all my life. The stuff that kept on bringing me back.
You've gone through it.
Because I was in and out of treatment. Do you know what I mean? In and out of treatment. all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's like I know that that's done.
Yeah. I tell you what stood out for me when you came in, you were hungry for change when you come into the home. The little bit I did get to know you, Dean, when you came into the home, you were hungry. There was a hunger inside you to change. Do you know what I mean? You could see life was at that beating you up.
Yeah.
Life was at that beating you up, mate. And you could see that. And you were hungry for change. People didn't know your story. You know what I mean? They just seen you broken, but you wanted to change. The Lord touched you.
Yeah, definitely.
When you came in to the VO, definitely you could see you were on fire.
Yeah.
And it was great. But how the journey of going through the home, how did that, you know, how long did you do in the home? You done 12 months, 13, 14 months?
I think
10 or,
before I graduated, I think it was about 14 months.
Was it?
Yeah. And then, but then I stuck around, didn't I? So I was in the other homes, and I kind of stayed involved a lot in the ministry and the church and that, which really helped me grow and change. But
I think it helps with patience, doesn't it? Where we probably run off. For me, sorry, go on, sorry.
No, the home, to be honest, the home was brilliant for me. I was after doing the treatment centre, a Christian treatment centre, before that.
Right.
So my sister died in 2016 of cancer.
Right.
And it absolutely messed me up, so it was worse than I ever was.
Right.
And I was absolutely, but in that place, they taught about God, they gave the teachings about God, they kind of helped you and showed you about God. So when I came to the home, I went back out there, I left that place, I went back out there, and my life just got 100 times worse. But when I came to Victory Outreach, I was ready to surrender completely. And what Victory Outreach done is they gave me a platform to just stand, and they taught me about prayer. They taught me
to get to know who Dean was.
Yeah, and they gave me a chance. And like that, there was some Sundays I went to church and I felt like the message was just straight for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that kept me, and then the Bible kept on giving me little scriptures, and I held on to them into my heart.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They
changed me, but a lot of the thing, there was this fellow said to me one time, he said, you might be miserable now, but at least you're going forward. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest change.
It's for anyone out there that wants to know about Victory Outreach. It's not an easy program. It's not an easy program, but it's designed to bring for you to start a new you, isn't it? And you know, I admire anybody that comes through it, and that comes through that stuff and keeps going, because it isn't easy.
No, of course not.
You know, it isn't easy. I just wanted to let the viewers know that.
It's definitely not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
What I'll say is that it was easier than going back out on the streets and back out onto drugs and dealing with the kind of havoc that I was dealing with out there, because, do you know what I mean, every day was just a struggle. But it changed me. Something changed in me, because when I was reading the Bible and I was getting scriptures, I was saying, I'm going to apply that to my life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Don't be double-minded. All right, a man should be working. All right, man should work. You should. That's the Bible says.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it was like, all right, cool. You need a vision, right? Good. Get a vision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you started applying stuff.
Yeah, you'll reap what you sow. So it better be sowing good. Yeah. And I don't be telling lies. So stop trying to tell lies. Do you know what I mean? And if I did tell a lie, I'll try to correct it. Do you know? And I just really
not do it again.
Yeah, well, I try to verify it, and I really just try to do everything to the best of my ability. And I'm not perfect. And this is one thing I'd like to say definitely, is that like, I went to war with my sin. Yeah. This is the truth, Terry.
Yeah, like,
right, I went to war with the stuff that was destroying me.
Through your journey.
After graduation, even I went through it, but I went to war.
You were hungry.
But like, no, but God showed me that the Bible says the little leaven spoils the whole lump. So what it means is a little bit of sin. The little bit of sin is going to get into you, and so the leaven in the bread
gets worse.
And there was stuff, honestly, there was days, right?
Yeah.
And what I found was the closer I got to God, the more convicted I was in my sin. And even though I wasn't out there like sleeping around or taking drugs or robbing or stealing or fighting or whatever it was, this other stuff that was in me kept on coming up, and the heart issues and this and that. And I just had to surrender and all, give it all to God. And over time, God just took and chopped away and chopped away and chopped away. And it's not easy, because I feel like when we become Christians and we become born again and we go into different surroundings and different situations, we look at other people and we think that, oh, they don't struggle with sin, or they don't struggle with this, they don't struggle with that. But that's not the case.
That's not the case.
No, we need to realise that if you have a want to be better, if you have a want to put stuff away, that's where the change will come. If you're able to say, oh no, I'll just go tell lies to everyone, or oh, no, I'll just take a little steal something small, and it's not bothering you, then there's no change. Then there's no change. But when there's a desire, then you just need to battle down the hatches, hold on, and get through what you need to get through.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's good, and it's great. You know that you've come through battles. I've seen battles, and you know now you've got married only recently, to your wife, and you went on your honeymoon. You're back working now, so you've about 4 years.
4 years.
4 years behind you.
4 years clean.
You know, and that's a serious testimony. Dean, for where you've come from, what you had to go through, what you just had to share to the viewers, that, you know, a young age, you were a problem child.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? You went through and basically no hope. You know, and then you lost your brother. Then you know, things got worse, dark. Then in and out of prisons, in and out of treatment centres. Then you're losing your sister.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And your testimony is a serious testimony, because it'll reach people, it'll help people. Someone out there will hear or see your story, Dean, and know what you're like. And to see you now, you're working, you're married, you're doing a programme, you completed a full programme, you haven't looked back.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And it's great to see. What's your future? What's your future holding? Is you know, you have a great little thing going down at the gym down there with the kids. You're giving back. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant, mate.
I love it, to be honest. Yeah, the future's bright. Do you know what I mean? I'm just getting ready to. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully buy a house next year. Do you know what I mean? So, just hopefully. Do you know what I mean? I'm maybe starting.
It's always positive thinking now.
Start a business hopefully in the next 3-4 months. Do you know what I mean? Starting a full-time business, so I don't need to be employed anymore. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That I have my own thing. You know what I mean? And just just church, just life, with family life, and
stay grounded.
Yeah, and what I'd say is with me, definitely, I don't care. I feel like I've no shame in thinking big. Do you know what I mean? I've big plans. Do you know what I mean? I was just studying something the other day, and it said that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. But when I seen that's a spiritual inheritance, that's a legacy, that's financial inheritance. So that's where my plans are. Do you know what I mean? My plans are to leave an inheritance for my children's children.
Very good.
Do you know what I mean? And I will work every God-given hour of the day. And I would graft, and do you know what I mean? I'll hustle, and I'll break me back, and do you know what I mean? And I'll reach people, and I'll pray for people, and I'll read.
Well, you're already doing that, and you're going to continue. You're saying to do that, but with the kids, you're giving back already. Yeah, and it's tremendous that you're able to do it. So you're basically only starting. How old are you now?
I'm 34.
So you're only starting to live now. Really, Dean.
I'm playing catch up. I feel like I'm playing catch up.
But it's good. It's great what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And I want to make sure people understand that what you were wrote off.
Absolutely, going lower in life, and that's the truth. There was no way. At the end, I thought there was the only thing I could do was end it all. That's the truth.
That's how bad it got.
I felt like killing myself. I just and like I can't explain the amount of times I laid down on couches like this or in rooms and just was absolutely overwhelmed with anxiety, fear of nothing, but and depression and darkness and hardship.
No, it's like,
do you know what I mean? And like, but now to live a life, the Bible says that Jesus came to give us a life and a life more abundantly.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And I'm taking that. Do you know what I mean? And what I'd say is, besides whatever else is going on, like in marriage and life and work and business and this and that, I've peace, Terry. I go to bed with peace in my heart. I wake up with peace in my heart.
Yeah.
And that's the most. That's, to me, that's worth more than anything.
Priceless.
And I thank God for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thank God every day for the peace He's after giving me.
Yeah, it's because you're getting up. You're getting up out of bed. You've good intentions. Do you know what I mean? When you're getting up with good intentions to help kids, to do good by your wife, to do good in society, you're gonna have peace when you're living like this thing.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean?
And what I'd say is, like, even now, things are not always going to go my way, and things are not always easy. And before, my life would, my head would have fell off, everything would have fell apart, and I would have went back on drugs and gave up. But today I know men, and this is a big thing, men. I feel like men, especially, need to speak to me. We deal with stuff.
Yeah.
We crack on.
Yeah.
And we handle it.
Yeah.
And then we move forward. Yeah. Doesn't matter how bad it is. If something goes wrong, people should be able to depend on us.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't go and run to drugs anymore and have everyone making the problem another problem on top of a problem.
Yeah.
And I've lived that. That's who I was.
Yeah.
Do you know, it didn't matter what problem, like it was bereavances, family law. I was just causing more problems because I was off my faith.
Yeah. And
that was one of the biggest things I held on to, was to be a man. Then people should be able to depend on you. You should be competent. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's in everything in life. Things are not always going to go our way. Things are going to be hard, difficult, and
You've learned the tools to deal with this.
I've learned the tools to deal with it, and the home gave me a good opportunity, and God opened my eyes and opened my heart and opened my mind to stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's fair play to you, Dean. This is another great story, and hopefully it'll reach, you know, different people. Because you have, you know, Victory Outreach has gone back out to Ireland, so it's good to share another Irish testimony. And I want to just say thanks again for coming on. It's hopefully it'll help someone out there. If you wanna say anything to anyone or anything, you know, a bit of encouragement for anybody, Dean, that, you know, young, old, wherever. Do you know what I mean? It's different battles with different people in society out there now at the moment. Myself, we all go through different battles, but this is why I'm trying to keep this channel alive, is to share the likes of, you know, different stories from different backgrounds to kind of help people, because society is, it's tough. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's tough. If you had some sort of you know, message for somebody, what would you say, Dean, you know, that's on drugs or starting out on drugs, or, you know, maybe it's drinking and it's getting out of control, you know?
What I'd say is that there's always a way out. Do you know what I mean? And you might be able to see it right now, but there is a way out, you know. And what I'd say to anyone is pray to God, ask Him to open doors and show you. What I'd say is get out of your situation. Go look for a treatment centre, look for a Victory Outreach, look for, I know there's like places in Ireland, New Hope, Tiglin, different Christian centres, but what I'll say is, and this is my truth, this is my life, my day starts with prayer, reading and worshipping God for at least an hour and a half every single morning, and I would not last without that. I wouldn't have got to where I am without that. That's every single day. Give me time to God first.
Brilliant.
But if you're out there and you're struggling and you're a million miles away from that, and I understand that that's where people can be at, what I'd say to you is just say to God right now in your heart, just say, God, help me, just show me a way. And then look for these places, get out of your current situation, don't give up, start trying to better your life. Do you know what I mean? Find a place that can just get, even if it's not a Christian place, just go try to get somewhere that you can get you off drugs, get cleaned up, and get away from the situation that you're in right now. And I that's the advice I'd give you for drug addiction and mental health. That sometimes a change of situation, a change of environment, and just like, honestly, I cannot emphasize the strength, the power that's in prayer. That God, we think remember I used to pray and I used to think God would come down and there'd be like a light and everything would change.
Yeah.
But he didn't, he brought me here.
Yeah.
And I feel like he picked me up and brought me here. Like,
yeah.
And when I look back
on
it,
turned it around,
when I look back on it, I had to be God.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So what I'd say to people out there is just don't give up. Just stay searching and try to find a place. Do you know what I mean? Just try to better yourself. There's loads of advice you could give people, but I think you don't want to overwhelm them with too much.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well,
when are Victory Outreach are going to Dublin on the
October
the 12th, isn't it?
Yeah,
to the
12th to the 15th. Yeah.
They're going to be in Ballyfermot.
Yeah, Ballyfermot, Dublin, Dublin City.
So, and what I'd say, if you're out there struggling, get a bus, get a train, get a taxi.
Yeah.
Whatever you get there, get there and connect with people. Definitely.
Brilliant. Yeah, because it's the people listen to it because it's coming from the horse's mouth, so to speak. People that have been through it and have turned their situations around, and they'll see it when Victory Outreach come to the streets in Dublin, and hopefully it's going to be, you know, a success with people and people connect and it'll help people. Do you know what I mean, in the future? But I'll leave it at that, Dean. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for sharing that, mate. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, we're going to have something to eat now. So until the next time, nice one. Catch you later. God bless. Have a great day.